I've been lucky enough to use Performance Builder since its inception. I've used it for a long time. Can't say enough good things about this. I start the horses right after I get them from the sales. I know Performance Builder is one of the main ingredients. I mean, we feed our horses well, but this really is a great addition to anybody's program.
With over 30 years of experience in wealth planning and a lifetime of involvement in harness racing, Matt Franklin at Wire to Wire Wealth can help you build a financial plan that addresses the unique circumstances of those involved in the horse racing industry. Whether you are investing to build wealth, protect your family, or preserve your assets, Matt at Wire to Wire Wealth will work with you through the wealth planning process from start to finish.
$750,000, Dan. Thank you.
The greatest day in harness racing happens Saturday, August 6th at the Meadowlands Racetrack. The top 3-year-old filly trotters and colt trotters compete to become champions in the $500,000 Hambletonian Oaks and the $1 million Hambletonian. Fans can enjoy the commemorative hat giveaway, live music by the Craig Saylor Project, carnival rides and games, food trucks, and much more. Doors open at 10 a.m. First race is 12 noon. Details at hambletonian.com.
Welcome everyone to another edition of Harness Racing Updates Two's in Training, sponsored by Finish Line Horse Products, Wire to Wire Wealth, the Hambletonian Society, and Standardbred Horse Sales Company. I'm Heather Vitale. Even though trainer Tony Alagna has won like every huge prize in harness racing that every horseman strives for, like the Little Brown Jug and the Hambletonian, there is always something new and exciting on the horizon for the Alagna Armada. And I'm not just talking about those up-and-coming superstars in his barn, although that is part of it. We caught up with Tony at Advantage Training Center in Howell, New Jersey to find out more in this edition of Two's in Training. Tony, how exciting, you bought a farm, and not just a farm, like an entire training facility. So is this something that you've grown up wanting, or is it something that you just had a goal of like the past couple of years ago?
No, I've actually always wanted my own place, and with the amount of horses we're training, it kind of made sense to try to find something. I'd been looking at Tulo Farm for a couple years, and it had been off and on the market, and I finally approached the Tulo family, Alex, and his cousin Dominique, and we got something done. It was been a really, really good process. They've been great to work with. It took a little while to get it done. There was a cell phone tower on the property that we had to make sure all the paperwork was done on that properly, but it's been great.
Yeah, I never saw the farm, beforehand, but I've seen pictures that you've posted on Facebook and a lot of comments of people saying, wow, this place looks great. So a lot of elbow grease, but definitely worth it.
Yeah, definitely. When we saw the farm, and like I say, I'd been watching it for a couple years. I'd been here, people had trained here for years, but I knew that if we could get the farm bought for the right money, it was probably going to have to spend another $1 million, probably $1.5 million to get everything back to, where we wanted it. And, we had a plan in place, and so far we've got 3 of the 5 barns are renovated, and we'll do the last 2 while we're at Lexington this year. We've redone the racetrack. We've added more bank. We've made it into a true 7/8 mile track. resurveyed it, and it's just been a great process. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, we definitely couldn't help but admire the size of your water truck. Oh, we were thinking it looked like something out of Terminator, maybe.
You may have a little water truck envy.
Yeah, well, now everybody knows. Now everybody knows. All right, so let's talk about the training as far as this year so far, location. You had some horses down there, some horses here. How'd that work?
Yeah, pretty much what I did is, at the yearling sales, I let all the owners know. Of course, they all knew that we had bought a farm, and I just pretty much left it up to them. I said, wherever you want your horses to go this year, I'm happy to do it. If you want them to go to Florida, if you want them to stay in New Jersey, if you're indifferent about where they train, you let me know. But it was amazing. It worked out almost an exact split. It's 68 in each location. So it worked out really well. And I had my mom down there, and guys had been with me for quite a while. Mom ran the show. We had Jan Janssen helping us this year. He was a great help. And the guys that normally go. And it really went well. It went very, very smoothly. I flew down every couple weeks when they first went down, and then toward the end there I was going every other week. And we've got everything out of there now. Around the 1st of April we were shooting for, and it all worked out.
And then all the babies are here next year, is that right?
We might send some down next year. We haven't really decided yet. We're keeping the option open. It just depends on, how things go this year and what we decide to do.
Okay, all right. Now, let's get some numbers from you. How many horses do you have in training?
I think right now it's right at 135 between the race horses and the babies. We had 70 babies this year, plus the train backs, plus some race horses we keep around as well. So it's right around 135.
Okay, and we are going to talk about 12 of those 2-year-olds, and we're going to kick it off with the trotting colts. Ari Ferrari J. Actually, this was Equinox B at the sale. I interviewed Ken Jacobs after he bought this colt. He was elated, said he didn't think he was going to be able to sleep that night. He was so happy, said it was the most expensive colt he had ever bought.
Yeah, Ken's been a great client. We've had horses for him for a couple years now, and he told me, he said, I'm going to buy a really nice Walner colt, and when I get it bought, I'll let you know. He says, it's yours to train. And when he bought this colt for that amount of money, he walked over and handed me the slip. And I'd seen the colt, of course, at Hunterton, and he was top shelf. I mean, there was a reason he brought what he did, and so far he's training that way as well. Jan Janssen trained him a couple times. Actually, he trained him the majority of the time in Florida this winter, especially when I wasn't there. And he was very, very optimistic and high on the colt. And Jan Janssen sat behind a lot of good horses, so he knows the difference.
Absolutely. Now that one went for $620. Okay. Now we're going to talk about another Walner who went for $70,000. Grow an account. And look, if you've got the backing to get a Walner, right, you get one.
Yeah, this colt was a little bit sneaky because I had the sister, and she was a filly we still have this year. We held over, named Nikki the Nun, and she hadn't qualified yet before the sale, or she had just qualified, but she hadn't raced. And we liked the filly a lot, so nobody really knew about his sister, so she showed up on the page as now 2 but not racing. We just qualified her in 54-3 her first time out. So when this colt came through, he sold early in the session, and I was able to get him bought for $70,000. And it belongs to myself, Robbie Pride, a new client in the barn, new client to the business. First horses he's ever owned. He bought that at Lexington last year, so it's very exciting for him. And Ron Ruggles and Victoria Howard, who owned Nikki the Nun, so it's a nice partnership.
Okay, nice. So we've got Jasmine Jackson next. This is a Muscle Hill colt.
Yeah, another colt that I think kind of flew under the radar a little bit. He's out of a great family. It's a family of Speak to Me, who we have a filly out of. We'll talk about later out of her. And this was a colt that was phenomenal in the paddock at Peninsula. I was shocked I got him bought for $50, and he's right now training as good as anything we got. And fortunately enough that the breeder, the Coyote Win, they came back in for a piece after we bought him. So it's myself, Coyote Win, Jim Crawford, and Robbie Pride also owns a piece of him.
Okay, and you just did mention Speak to Me, and that's who we're going to take a look at. The dam of this filly here, Yes, Please, and it's a Father Patrick.
Yes, a very nice filly. She was my mother's favorite filly in Florida. She trained her all winter, got a great mouth on her, very, very smart filly. Just does her work, whatever you ask her to do. She's push button. And, she was entered in the sale originally, but got sick before the sale, and they had to take her out. So, fortunately, I was able to train her for Brittany Farms.
When you said great mouth on or very smart, I wasn't sure, were you talking about the filly or your mom?
My mom's got a great mouth. Sometimes it's a really, really, really great mouth. So
I gotcha. And if you know Donna Lee, you got that joke too. All right. Next up, we have Graceful Patty, a $100,000 purchase from Lexington, and this is a first foal.
yeah, great pedigree on this filly. She's a family of muscle mass. We saw this filly at Peninsula. Same thing. We turned her out. Really, really good in the field. Myron Bell and I went out. We looked at her, and he was really high on the fillies, of course, especially with her pedigree and everything else. All parts considered, she brought 100. She doesn't have Kentucky dual eligibility. If she had that, she probably would have been a $200,000 filly. So that might have helped us in the long run as far as getting her bought, because she's really training well.
Okay, now we're going to check out a homebred, and this is Royal Filly, another trotting filly.
Yeah, this filly was funny because she belongs to Crawford's, and we had a $100 bill I had just gotten for them at the end of his 2-year-old year. We had bought the yearling brother, colt, that sold, I think his name was $7 bill when we bought him. We changed his name to Slay. And then the breeder of this filly was at the sale. And I said, based on us having a $100 bill, what I think that colt will come back at 3. We just bought the brother for good money at Harrisburg. I said, guys are going to take a shot and buy the weanling filly. And Alan Michelle said, we've already got that in the works. And they bought the filly privately as a weanling that fall. So they raised her at their place, and she's a really, really nice filly. She's a bigger, stronger version of a $100 bill. She's got all the tools. I think she could be anything.
All right, now we're going to switch gates. We've got the Pacers, start with the Colts, Admiral, Hanover, and American Jewel, the world champion American Jewel, and he's a Captain Treacherous.
Yeah, we thought this was probably one of the best colts we saw all year. Definitely the best colt, in our opinion, at Harrisburg as far as individual pedigree, all parts considered. Being a captain out of American Jewel, he was a no-brainer for us and for Myron Bell and his group. And this colt, he's been nothing short of perfect all winter. He's had a great winter in Florida, done nothing wrong. Acts like he's got that extra turn of speed that he needs. Big, strong colt. Very similar in style to his brother that we had U.S. captain, but I think a little stronger, a little better individual than he was. So we're excited about him.
Now, how about STORMALONG? This is a Stay Hungry. This is the first crop of Stay Hungrys.
Yeah, I've got a lot of Stay Hungrys. I think I've got 6 colts and 5 fillies, and I put this colt on. He's very advanced. He's very mature. But behind him, I've got a lot of nice colts and fillies by Stay Hungry, but I want to mention this colt because right now he's very advanced. We bought this colt from View Carey at at Harrisburg. I think we gave $35,000 for him. He belongs to Brad Grant, of course, who owns Stay Hungry, and Steve Heimbecker, who is a great friend of Brad's and a good client of ours, and he's also a big fan of Stay Hungry. So he definitely wanted to get involved in a couple with Brad, and this has been a really good colt. He stayed up here this winter. All my Stay Hungry stayed up north, and this colt's been great all winter.
All right. How about El Rey? I have a little note here. First of all, a homebred, a full brother to Don't Fence Me In, who you trained, right?
Yeah, I actually trained the mother of this colt as well. She didn't have a lot of ability. She was an artistic fella, but she had enough speed to her that you could tell she might produce something great. Yeah, this colt looks like he might be able to go to the next level. He's been great all winter in Florida. He was a homebred. Myron Bell raised him, and he's probably one of those colts, had he went to the sale, he'd have been a $250,000, $300,000 colt based on his looks and the pedigree and everything else. So, he's been solid all winter. He trained in Florida, so very happy with him.
Okay, now the girls, the pacing girls. We've got Caviar Devia. And actually, we were just talking about Stay Hungry. This is a half-sister to Stay Hungry. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Caviar Farms, they've been a great client of ours for the last 5 years. This was a filly, they were always looking for pacing fillies. That's kind of what they want to focus on to hold on for the future for their broodmare band. And, Buck and Judy, especially Judy, was always a big fan of My Little Dragon. So when I saw this filly at the farm and turned her out, she was raised at Hunterton Farms. She went by the name of Kygo as a yearling. and of course they give it, the caviar moniker. But this filly's been super all winter in Florida, so she's been at the top of her class with the fillies down there. Actually trained a lot of the times with the colts because she just always had that little bit of extra to her. So we're excited about her with her pedigree. So.
Yeah, definitely. I should mention, I know you mentioned My Little Dragon, but again, that's the dam of this filly. And this is her 10th foal. And I always wonder, what's your feeling? First foal, 10th foal, somewhere in the middle? Does it matter?
Well, it seems like the better ones come early, but also it seems like, not every mare has 10 foals. So, of course, it's the first couple are going to be the better ones because, not every mare goes and has that prolific of a breeding career. So, if you get a great individual and you get a new sire introduced to an older mare, I really like that angle. Being as this is a captain filly, with that pedigree, I just don't think you can go wrong. Especially, whatever she does on the racetrack is definitely a bonus because her residual as a broodmare is second to none.
Okay, well, how about odds on Stephanie, a Lazarus filly? Again, this is a first crop of Lazarus.
Yeah, odds on Superstar, first full out of odds on Stephanie. Odds on Stephanie was a full sister to Captain Treacherous, and same thing. We bought her. Dana and I picked that filly out. I told Dana same thing. Whatever this mare does on the track is gravy. Her real value is going to be as a brood mare, whatever she does. She made around 80,000, took a decent mark, but, I think this is her first foal. This is a big, strong, beautiful Lazarus filly, and she's got a really, really wicked turn of speed. So, I think, her paydays, as far as the brood mare herself, her paydays are going to be through her foals, and this acts like a really nice filly.
Well, we started off these 12 horses, these 12 two-year-olds with a doozy. We're going to finish up with a doozy, right? We've got Seashell, $450,000 purchase from Lexington. Tell me about her.
Yeah, this was a filly that when I went around to all the farms, we go everywhere, we pick out what we want to look at pedigree-wise. This filly had all the tools. I trained Captain Kirk out of the mare. This is sister to Blue Diamond Eyes that Ronnie Burke trained, of course. And then I had the next one, Captiva, which was a nice filly, but she was just a step below the better ones. And when this filly came by and we looked at her at the farm, I said to George and I said to Marvin Katz, I said, this is as good a pacing filly as I've seen in 10 years. I mean, she has just got everything. She's all the tools, the look, the attitude, the conformation, everything. So, Marvin Katz says, well, I'm going to take a big run on this filly. And he said, how much do you think it's going to bring? And I said, doesn't matter. I said, whatever she brings, she brings. But I said, if you're going to buy a pacing filly, this is the one. So, Marvin, we went all the way. We got her bought for $450. We didn't even get into the bidding until $400. She'd already got to $400 before we got in, and we got her bought for $450.
Yeah, one thing that I love about doing these series, I start to learn about breeding a little more. And the thing about this broodmare is she's had 4 foals, and they're 4 Captain Treacherous foals, and they seem to like each other. That's a good hookup.
No, it's very, very good. I mean, that's that's one of the things that when Captain Treacherous went to stud, he was able to breed a lot of different types of mares, being a son of some beach somewhere. And now that the Captain Treacherous daughters are going to the broodmare band, now they're going to go to the Tall Dark Strangers and the Better's Wishes and that line of the Better's Delight. So it really kind of complements each other as these generations go along the way. But this filly just has everything, and like you say, the cross works, and I'm happy to have the filly.
And now I'd asked someone the other day, what do you think I should ask Tony Alagna, And they're like, well, I want to know how fast he's going now. And you think about it, although 2-year-olds don't really start racing until, June, July? You've got some months. You've already paid your April stakes. So where are they now? How fast are they going?
Well, we left out of Florida. The first load, I think, was 2 weeks ago. And when I went down there and trained them the last time, the first group that left Florida, we trained everything in Florida around 17, 18 before they left there, the jog cart. The horses at home were 5 seconds behind them because I knew when the Florida horses left, they were going to lose a little time on the ship. So the horses that came here have not trained any faster than that since they've been here, but they've trained back twice. The horses that are here, that stayed here all winter, we trained in 18 last Friday. So everything right now has been the same. Florida and Jersey, they've all been around 17, 18, trotters and pacers, everything about the same. So I'm happy with where they're at right now.
And when you go to qualify them or baby race them, you do it a couple times before they go for any money, is that right?
Yeah, like we'll baby race twice, but we'll ship them up at least twice to the Meadowlands and train them. You know, we want to get them up there. The first time, it's amazing. Like you'll have a horse that's so brave at home, and the first time you take him up to the Meadowlands, he's starstruck or she's starstruck. Like they get up there and they don't even want to tighten the line. And those horses, the second time you take them up, it's like they're right back to where they were at home. And you never know which one it'll be. I mean, you'll have horses, like I say, that are so confident at home. You take them up there, they lose their confidence. The second time you take them up, they're back. You have horses that are maybe a little shy at home, but they get up there and they just light up. Like they just find that it's the coolest thing ever, and they go out there and they put on a show the first time right off the bat. So, you know, we like to do that, get them up there, get them on the trailer, get them in the paddock. You know, we'll train our babies in 56 or 57 before they baby race, just because you never know, like, what you're going to hit up there on qualifying day. On baby race, you might get somebody that goes a mile in 53 the first time, or we might go in 2-1, but you can't take a chance of getting one of your babies hurt because they get in with somebody that, you know, goes a crazy mile and your horse isn't up for it. So, you know, we try to find them, train in that range that you're pretty good wherever you go.
And just to top off the interview, looking around here, you've done such a great job, and I know there's a lot more work to do, but the fact is harness racing really is alive and well. And I hear a lot of people are like, oh, blah, blah, you know what I mean? And I'm like, don't come to my party. I am positive about this sport, and when you invest in a piece of property like that, I know that you are too.
Oh, absolutely. You know, what the thing about it is, if it all goes away in 5 years or whatever, 10 years, are you just going to sit back and wait for it to happen? I'm not. I'm going to, you know, keep doing what I do. You know, I sit at night and I think about things I want to do the next day. I mean, I want to put a plan in place. When I bought this place and people came and looked at it, and I mean, I'll tell you, Linda Toscano, a lot of different people, they said, this guy has lost his mind when he bought this place. And now they come by and they're like, okay, now we get it. Like, you know, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. The style of the barns, you know, where we took all the block out and we put these beautiful custom-made, you know, fronts in the stalls. You know, everything we did here was a plan in place, and, you know, so great for me to see it all come together.
Yeah, it is great. It is great. Well, thank you for having us. I had a great time, as always, with you, and thanks for being on Tuesday Training.
Anytime.
I appreciate you all tuning in, and I want to give a big thanks to our sponsors, Finish Line Horse Products, Wire to Wire Wealth, the Hambletonian Society, and Standardbred Horse Sales Company. Don't forget to log on to harnessracingupdate.com for your free newsletter. I'm Heather Vitale, and this has been an HRU production.
$750,000, Dan. Thank you.
With over 30 years of experience in wealth planning and a lifetime of involvement in harness racing, Matt Franklin at Wire to Wire Wealth can help you build a financial plan that addresses the unique circumstances of those involved in the horse racing industry. Whether you are investing to build wealth, protect your family, or preserve your assets, Matt at Wire to Wire Wealth will work with you through the wealth planning process from start to finish.
I've been lucky enough to use Performance Builder since its inception. I've used it for a long time. Can't say enough good things about this. I start the horses right after I get them from the sales. I know Performance Builder is one of the main ingredients. I mean, we feed our horses well, but this really is a great addition to anybody's program.
The greatest day in harness racing happens Saturday, August 6th at the Meadowlands Racetrack. The top 3-year-old filly trotters and colt trotters compete to become champions in the $500,000 Hambletonian Oaks and the $1 million Hambletonian. Fans can enjoy the commemorative hat giveaway, live music by the Craig Sailor Project, carnival rides and games, food trucks, and much more. Doors open at 10 a.m. First race is 12 noon. Details at hambletonian.com.